Fools keep looking around, searching, searching, searching. Fools spend their life craving something better. Didn't we talk about this? Now, if you're, I don't want to say you're a fool if you can have wisdom right in front of you, but yet you're always searching for something else. Searching for another thing, and then another thing. Fools spend it and move toward being bitter. You will chase better until you get bitter. Does that make sense? Wisdom. All right? All right. So let's talk a little bit. Let's talk about a little bit about what wisdom. We're going to start talking about quality. Wisdom. What does a person do? Meditation over their imagination. Meditation, then these are your notes. Time. Wisdom is more meditation. All right, meditation. Meditation more than imagination. Meditation is more contemplation. You know what you know what contemplate means? Right? Always investigating. Foolishness or fool's imagination deals a lot with speculation. Understand the difference? Now, we're going to be talking about levels of fools. If you didn't know, there are levels of fools. And so we'll talk about that tonight too. But I just want you to pull out what somebody was saying, what makes someone wise? What are the qualities that make you something wise? Actually, one of your questions last week was, can you be wise? And part of it is it's traits that you learn. You got in a second. Meditation, then speculation. Now, do you speculate more? Speculate? One runs which gets you in a lot of problems. Meditation, what is meditation? Come on, Psalms. And what is he meditating on? God. More involved here. Right? You know what this person does right here? This person is a daydreamer. And a lot of our problems start speculation and right in, the answer's right here, but we're searching all over. And it can make us bitter, angry. And some of the things are a creation of our imagination. With me so far? All right. All right, so let's talk about, well, we could talk about, but we're going to talk more about fools, right? Levels of fools, okay? That I thought it was necessary if we're going to talk about. Oh, hopefully you know I was writing that. Were you writing that? Okay. Here's why I thought it was necessary to talk about fools. Why do you think it's necessary to talk about fools? You don't want to fall in the same categories. You want to know how to discern people and how to deal with them. Right? You want to discern, one, how to deal. Wisdom is understanding who you're dealing with, too. Right? Right? You have to be able to discern the level of and foolishness. And I wanted to say foolishness is just a matter for the Bible is a level of ignorance or arrogance. People that's caught up in their ways. So the Bible just level at foolishness. But there's 5 types of fool. They are not all the same. With me so far? Right? So part of wisdom is discerning what kind of people you are dealing with. Also, the type of people you need to stay away from. Also, if you are operating in this level of foolishness. Because you can be that person people need to stay away from. What happened? There are many levels of fools. Okay, maybe I should just do it one by one. Okay. Types of fools. I know when somebody that's a F. All right. So when they say, "What you did in Bible study?" I'm like, we learned about the types of fools. Okay. Because the Bible, anytime when the Bible speaks about wisdom, he always brings fools in. And he makes sure you understand the characteristics of it to know where you're operating from. That's what the Bible always does. It gives you both. I give you light, I give you dark. I'm going to tell you what light people in the light do, and I'm going to tell you what people in the dark do. And based on the behaviors, you know which one you are. Yeah. That's what it's trying to do. Okay? All right. So, first type of fool is a simple fool. Simple. Can you have it, Sean? Let me see if I can put oh, it's probably hard. Okay, so here it is. It's probably hard to see. So I'll write it out here. Okay? You have a simple fool. One of the things about a simple fool, they believe everything. And I'm going to go back and forth. We're going to do this for a minute, and then I'm going to go in the Bible and show you. Simple fool believes everything. He or she lacks discernment. He opens his arms to every passing stranger. I was trying to print this out for you, but probably been better. If you give me an email, I can send it to you. In your Bibles, turn to Proverbs 22, verse 3. And which is why I definitely need to send you this, because it also tells you how the treatment to this level of foolishness. Because you have to know who you're dealing with. Now, I should have said this before. The English language just says fools, right? But Hebrew, there are levels to it, which is why in the Old Testament there are 5 levels of fool. The English language is so limited that when you say fool, it lumps them all together. But the Hebrew language, there's different levels of fools. Right? And in your Bible, you see it, you read it, but we kind of all, like Officer Clive said the fool said in his heart, that is another level of fools. That is another level of fool. But we lump them all in together, but they're not the same type of fool. Right? That's the steadfast fool. When the fool said in his heart, there's no God. Psalms 14, I think that's 1. Psalm 14 verse 1, that's a steadfast fool. Okay? So at the end of the night, by the end, when you hopefully the point is when you see fool in the Bible, you'll be like, ooh, that's a simple fool. That's a silly fool. That's a sensual fool. Or here's what's going to happen. You'll be able to point out in people. A simple fool is simple fool believe every words, looks for a leader, ignores cause and effects, is corrupted by the scorning fool. So a simple fool believes everything. Any passing word that somebody says, they're so gullible, they believe it. How many know some simple fools? All right. Proverbs 22 verse 3. See, so you already know how to deal with it. Simple. Proverbs 22 verse 3. Read it. You got it?
A prudent man foreseeing the evil and hid himself, but a simple pass on and are perish.
The prudent man, a wise man, go ahead.
Do you want to read again?
Yes, a wise man will see evil.
And hid himself.
A wise man will see evil and say, ooh, let me get away. The simple fool, pass it and perish. What somebody sees and hides, this simple fool can't pass the same thing. See that there? That a wise man could see that and, I got to get away from that. A simple fool would die in the same place. So you'd be like, how they didn't see that? You know why? Simple. It has a lot to do with immaturity. Simple fools are immature. Actually, here's what I should say. Dangerously immature. Because there's nothing wrong with being immature. But when you're dangerously immature, you are susceptible to be carried away by every single thing. Right? Next fool. A silly fool. A silly fool is all about just the pleasure for right now. But really, but really a silly fool is one whose mouth gets them in trouble. Look at Proverbs 10 verse 14.
What scripture?
Proverbs 10 verse 14. What you have there?
A wise man lay up wisdom, but the mouth of the foolish is near destruction.
The simple fool, let me tell you what a simple fool is. You all know simple fool. That there's problems, but then the simple fool comes and their mouth make it worse. You know those simple fools? Where they're talking, like it's bad, and then the simple fool come and talk, and all of a sudden, what was like a 5 ratcheted up to like 100. Anybody know simple fools? Sure.
Okay, back to the silly food. Now,
The silly or the simple?
silly.
The first one or this
No,
one?
the second one. Silly
This one,
food.
okay.
Uh, I believe a lot of us are a jokester. I'm a jokester. So, you know, I play little pranks, you know, but I'm not,
Right.
I want to believe I'm not an idiot.
Right.
You know, I'm a smart person. But I believe all of us, even as Christians, would play pranks.
Yeah.
Now, I guess that would make, all of us.
No, that's not
Oh,
that's not that
okay.
fool. No.
Because
No. Not,
I play jokes.
yeah.
Just
That's
jokes.
not the fool he's talking about.
Okay, 'cause I hate to be a silly fool.
No, this fool, what you're talking about is a prankster and you're joking. That's for the good. When they're talking about,
Because I see up there said, good time.
good time, but at the expense that it's going to cause wrath.
Oh, okay.
Now, don't think good time is like jokes. Good times is they making things worse, and in their minds, it's good.
It's good. Oh, okay.
Understand? So somebody that's doing something bad, they come along, their mouth just make things worse. So not silly as in one that love jokes, pranks. That's joking around, everybody's laughing. I'm talking about like somebody, like when the Bible's talking about foolishness, it's talking about like this ignorance and like arrogance that you walk into something and it's just like really rude. Like somebody that's an instigator that starts trouble, the Bible calls that foolishness. Right? That's how it lists it. It'll list it, that's what I'm saying, there's levels of, it'll list it as somebody that's like a silly fool. Okay? Got it. All right.
We call that a mischief maker.
You call it mischief, but when they open their mouth, things are not going to get better.
Right, that's what I'm
Or they have to win every argument, whether they're wrong or they're right.
When they,
You know that they're right, they're wrong, they know that they're wrong, but they're not going to take wrong,
that's another level of fool.
you know.
That's another level of fool.
Well,
You mean where they stuck in their own way?
yeah,
That's another level of fool.
you know.
We're working down. We're working our way down. We're moving because even silly fools, although they make things worse, they have moments where they're like, oh my God, my bad. But they do it a lot. But they still can say my bad. You're talking about somebody that's stubborn, that's not listening to anybody. We're working our way there. Hold on. That's another level of fool. Hold on.
Win.
They don't want to hear. They're not taking anybody's advice. That's another level of fool. We almost there. Hold on. All right. Let's go to the next one. A sensual fool. Next one. Oh, I don't. You don't see the S there. Sensual. All right. Sensual. This one is, this fool is good time. Love pleasure. Focuses on anything that just brings them pleasure. Right? This is similar to a silly fool. But this one, his mouth getting him in more trouble. And this one is pleasurable. Like trouble become pleasurable for them. You know anybody that just loves good trouble?
Sometimes when you witness to people, I run into that.
Some that
They will come out straight and they will tell you, I do this, I do that, I can't do this, I can't stop, do that. But one man say he would like to come to church and say that. Say, I love the Lord and everything, but I have to do this. And he think that he is right.
I love the Lord, but I have to keep doing what I do. That's what
How
he
you get through that?
okay, hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Let's look at Proverbs 18, 6 to 7. I think this will help you too, Evangelist Barnett, because if you know who you're dealing with, then you won't get too frustrated either.
Yes, yeah.
You know, like that's why I'm letting you know. If you know this person is a fool, like foolish or in foolish things, you can get frustrated in trying to change somebody that is just stuck the way they are. Right? That was part of the, well, you don't follow me on Facebook. So if you did, that's part of it. If you appreciate what something is, you would stop being frustrated on what it can never be. If I know this thing can never be it, I won't be frustrated anymore. If I appreciate for what it is, I would stop trying to make it something it can't be.
And pray about it.
Yeah, it's not your job. That's God's job. It's God's job. Because then you'll try to change somebody
You can't change it.
and you can't do anything about it. There's certain people that it'll never be unless God. I always say unless God. Right? But sometimes we play the role of we want to be God and try to make it that it's something that it just can't do it. Okay?
That's not your job.
Right. And it actually, right, it knows you find your place too. Right? Because if you know who you're dealing with, you know who you are too. So it finds your place where I can't do this. This is not my job for you to do that. Right? Because maybe you're trying to do something that you can't do and it's frustrating you. And you're blaming it on your weakness. I guess my gospel or my evangelism is not strong enough. Let me go, you'll blame yourself and your skills and your ability. But it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them. Does that make sense? All right. So let's look at Proverbs 18, 16. 6 and 7. Go ahead. A fool?
A fool did enter into contention, and his mouth called for strife. A fool mouth is a destruction, and his lips are the snare of his soul.
So you see already, his mouth caused destruction. His lips is a trap. Snare, trap for the soul. These people are what you consider like hypocritical. They're two-faced. They talk out both sides of their mouth.
They say good to you and
Their mouth is destruction and it's a snare. It'll trap you because they say they're two-faced, they talk out both sides of their mouth, hypocrites, and being around them, they whisper one thing over here and then whisper over there and they'll have you trapped over here, but yet they're talking about you behind your back over there.
God called them hypocrites.
And they're straight destructive. And their mouth is good. They're slick with it. Because what kind of fool you think this person can ensnare? The simple fool. Do you see why you got to know? Because you could be a level of fool and get trapped by a higher grade fool. And y'all could be in a fool's run together. You understand? If you're not careful, the fool with good words captures a simple fool. And then you ever seen somebody with somebody that's a fool and you be like, why is this person with? What? Come on, let's talk. You don't see this person is a fool. But then, if that person is a fool, and you stuck with that fool,
You become a double fool.
I got. And when you see something, I mean, okay, forget it. I'm not trying to get myself in trouble today. But that's the whole point of it. That you have to see traits. You have to see traits that you have to call out and be like, man, this is a level of, okay? They are this type of fools. They hide their hatred with their lies, their slander. They'll talk about you and then slander you with the next breath. If you keep comfortably with them, you will suffer. If you have sensual fools as friends, you will suffer. Because they will comfort you over here and then talk about you over here. You're cool here and you're dead over there. With me? Their words are snares to the soul. All right. Let's do a next fool. Scorning fool. All right. You know this one. Psalms 1. Turn your Bibles to Psalm 1. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel. You know what that means, right? Blessed is the man that walketh not in the advice, the wisdom. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the advice of the ungodly. Meaning, blessed are you when you don't walk in the advice of a fool. Right? If a fool give you advice, you're a fool for taking it. If you know it's a fool, the last thing you need to be doing is to be listening to the fool. And you know how you know a fool is a fool? You look at their life and see if their life is credible to give you advice. If their life is not credible to give you advice, you should not be taking advice from somebody's life that don't match the advice that they're giving you. Does that make sense? You'll be a fool if you walk in the counsel of somebody ungodly. Now, it progress and stands in the way. You know what in the way is, right? Not blocking somebody. If you understand, blessed man that walks not in the counsel, meaning that you're not following their advice, nor stands in the way of what? No, stands in the way of sinners. You know what stands in the way means? Not blocking somebody, but you're standing in their way, in the way they go about their methods. Right? Huh? You're standing right. You're standing in their ways. You're thinking how they think. You do things how they think. That's their ways. You know, she's stuck in her ways. Kind of in their ways, mean their methods. So, blessed the man that's not walking in the counsel of their godly. I'm not listening to what they have to say and walking it out. Nor am I standing in the way of a sinner. Because the other one you see now, you're moving. Now, the more you stay with foolish people, your progression stops. You're walking. I walk in the vice. If you walk in their vice, next thing you know, you're going to be standing in their ways. With me? And then the next thing, you're going to be sitting in the seat of the scornful. So you've now progressed from listening to what they have to say. And when you listen to what they say, you're going to stand and do what they do. And then you're going to sit down and get stuck in the same thing that they do. Right? All right. Scornful people. They don't listen to advice of their parents, God, authority, nobody. One of the definitions says sometimes their facial expression even shows it. That even in their face, you can see the foolishness. But it's not on right here. This is not on here. Well, so you see the scorning fool. Scorning fool gets simple fools to do evil. You see that at the top? Scorning fools love simple fools. You know who's the simple fool? The simple fool is starts out. The simple fool started out walking in the way. Then he ended up standing in the way. And then now that simple fool can progress to be a scorning or scornful fool. Does that make sense? And now, one of the definitions say, even on their face. Even on their face. Yeah. You ever see somebody just face is just always just like all the day they suck lemons? You ever suck a lemon? And you're like their face is just stuck like, you eating lemons? Why your face so sour? Because after a while, when you get to that level of, remember now, this is not talking about intellect. This is not talking about, when we think of food, we think of your intelligence. No, it's talking about your attitude, your mood. When your life and you become so miserable and so arrogant and evil that it even starts, you can't help it. It starts coming out of your face. Your facial expressions start just like. So you imagine if their faces twist, you know they're thinking. I don't mean to. If your face is so screwed up, you know your heart and thinking. Because out of the heart, the mouth speak. I'm sorry for making this little, all right? The scorning fool utterly detests people's ideas. They don't like anybody else's thoughts. They detest people, meaning they don't necessarily like people. Anybody that contradicts them, they don't like. Like if you tell them, no, you're wrong, the scorning fool will be like, no, I'm right. They don't accept advice. Their way is the right way. One of the first signs of wisdom, right? Of course, the first sign of wisdom is the fear of God. But you know what makes somebody wise? This is how you know you're on the path of being wise. You're willing to accept advice. You're willing to accept when you're wrong. That is, you want to talk about characteristics of wisdom? Be willing to accept that you're wrong. That will come after. But you got until because people can apologize but don't accept the wrong. But you have to willingly accept that you're wrong. And hear somebody else's voice other than your own. That is a crucial part of being wise.
But you're a child of God, sometimes you may say something to somebody and, and as I lie down and so forth, the Lord just bring it up to me. You know, it just come to me that you're wrong with such and such a people. And you have to go and apologize back to them and say, maybe I thought you're obviously I'm very sorry, and so forth.
Yep. All right. Number 5, steadfast fool. Steadfast fool, right? They don't want to hear from God. Psalms 14, verse number 1. They totally reject God and his ways. So, evangelists, do you have some fools that totally reject God and his ways? Okay? Now, I don't want you going like, you're a fool. don't.
Why even pray for them?
Yeah, pray for them. Don't be like, well, you're a fool. Yeah, you don't want that. Huh?
Is that right after they don't say whatever? And
Yeah. You just carry on. God bless you. Yeah. Carry on, yeah. Psalm 14, verse 1. The fool has said in his heart, there's no God. They are corrupt. They have done abominable works. There's none that doeth good.
What does that mean, has scared conscience?
Seared.
Seared.
Well, it's like it's not open. You want something seared shut?
Shut up.
It's shut. Their conscience is, it's almost like you branded something. It's seared. It's branded, stuck.
Close up.
You want to at least have an open mind. Open. But there are some that just seared. Their goal is to draw people to do evil. Closed-minded. They're closed-minded. They're self-confident and closed-minded. Ooh. You add those together, that is. When you're confident in your ignorance, ooh. That's a fool. That's a fool you need to run. Right? Understand what I mean by when you're confident in the ignorance that you have, that is a terrible trait. Especially when you're self-confident in the wrong that you're doing. When you're boasting about it, ooh, that's a dangerous person. That's evil. All right? You can't do anything with them. Attempts to reprove him will be futile and brings any attempt to change the steadfast fool will bring that person frustration. Anybody's trying to change a steadfast fool, you will get frustrated. You will get mad more than they would change. No, you won't be a fool, but you'll just be frustrated. Do you understand? Here's why. Do you understand why I said you got to understand who you're dealing with? Because you can be getting mad at somebody that's stuck. And you waste all your whole day being frustrated with a steadfast fool. And they ain't going to change. And now you just waste a good portion of your day, your life, with a self-confident, closed-minded fool. Because any attempt you try to influence him, they're going to influence your frustration. Only God. Right? There are certain people, go on your list. Hopefully in your list, there's some people that you got to put that they know they need to change. You got to put over their head, only God. You got to, hopefully, at the end of Bible study, hopefully you have I'm going to help you categorize your life and prioritize your life where you could give people, not bad labels, but understand where they play with the expectation that you have so you can minimize your frustration. Like if that's an only God section.
Right.
I can't do with that much. And then there's people that's stuck, only God. Then you got to also label the people, they ain't going to be around for long. This ain't gonna be around for long. This people right on, so you can't expect too much over here too. Right? So yeah, on the opposite end, or people just leave alone. Well, only God, you just leave alone. This is temporary over here, not gonna be around for long. And then all the other rest that's in the middle, then you can start working with different. Then you right now, I just knocked down 2 big groups in your life: temporary people and people that ain't changing. All right.
Very true. Leave them alone. You talk to them, then
Only God.
leave them.
Only in your head you gotta be like, only God.
Only them can do.
Only God. All right. We gotta we gotta finish. Okay. Because I want to get to you. Because we won't pass our time. Okay. Matthew. So y'all got all these fools. Y'all got all these fools? Mm-hmm. All right, good. Matthew 7:24 to 27. And then we'll end there tonight. Next week, remember, I'll be at all right, we'll be out. Matthew 7:24 to 27. Ten minutes and we good?
24.
Matthew 7:24 to 27. Found it? Okay. Anybody want to read it?
Therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man.
Okay, pause before you go. I'm gonna like read. Stop. Okay.
So you're talking about wise now?
Yeah, we're in wise. We just messed with fool. We're still talking about some fools for a second, but another characteristic of what's wise, right? What is 2 characteristics right now that the Bible just pointed about being wise? What is wisdom? Hearing and doing. God's word. Okay, so when you're doing your wisdom, making sure when a wise person hears and they do. You can't just hear. Hearing and doing is part of wisdom. Right? Hearing Jesus' words. That's what he's saying. If you hear God's word, you got to hear it and you got to do it. It's important. All right. Go ahead, my sis. You can finish now.
I will liken him unto a wise man which built his house upon a rock.
Okay.
And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the wind blew and beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock.
Okay.
And everyone that heareth these sayings of mine, and doeth them not, shall be likened unto a foolish man, which built his house upon the sand.
Okay.
And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the wind blew and beat upon the house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it.
Okay. All right. You got a lot right there. Now, how do you know the difference between a fool and that's wise? Hear and do, but it's a...
And you build it up on a solid
Okay.
word of God.
But what makes you... Yeah, where he builds, absolutely. But what's going to distinguish between the two? How would you know who is wise? What's going to be the detective? What did Christ say that you would know who is wise and who is foolish, yes, where he's built, but what comes in their life to make you be able to tell the difference between a wise person and a fool.
The wise person doesn't fall.
Yes, but you said it.
Storm.
A storm. Storms. You know how you know who's wise? Who makes it through storms.
Make it through the storm.
What he's trying to say, that the wise and the foolish are going to go through storms.
Oh, yes.
Wisdom shines in storms. Wisdom teaches you how you get through. That's how, and now here's what he's saying. I know who's wise by how you handle storms. I know. I know who's wise based on what you build your life on. Wisdom doesn't avoid storms. Wisdom gets you through them. The fool and the wise are going to get wet. But you know who's wise? I want to see how you manage that storm. What are you building your life on? Because guess what? Storms coming. And you can tell a person who's built their life on a strong foundation based on how they handle their storms. How are you handling your storms? Wisdom. Wisdom is going to get you through the storms of life. Hear what God says. Do what God says. Storms will come, and you'll make it. With me so far? Isaiah 59 verse 19, you don't have to even go to it. The enemy shall come in like a flood. Right? So here's what's happening on. Here's how I know wisdom, right? Based on your attacks. Because you're going to be attacked by floods, storms, whether they subtle attacks. So far in the Bible, I was looking at it, so far in the Bible, the type of attacks we get from the Bible from the enemy is either they're subtle, it's like it's subtle, you don't know, it just sneaks its way in, or you're just completely overwhelmed. Right? It's in between, it's those two. Subtle, you don't even know. Right? A wolf in sheep clothing just snuck in. And then there's overwhelming where you just drowning. The enemy came in like anybody ever hit with a flood? And that flood and that storm is a level of testing of wisdom. What kind of foundation did you build your life on? Sand?
Would you say the more you increase in wisdom, the bigger the storms?
Well, yes, it's going to go. Yes, absolutely. Or the more you continue doing what God says and hearing and doing what God says, you are going to be faced with all different types of storms. Absolutely. Absolutely. Right? But again, it's raining outside. Anybody here worrying about the rain? Why are we not worrying about the rain? We are in the rain. It's raining around us. But we understand the stability of where we at. This building has been through storms before. Right? So when you've been through storms and you know the stability in which you stand, that's why they say you smile at the storm. Because you've been through storms before, so the next one that comes around, yes, it may shake you a little bit. Sometimes you get a little sandies where you got to board up. But you understand, man, my foundation is strong. I can make it through this. Understand what I'm trying to say? Right? So understand too, some of those storms are trying to test your foundation. Some of the storms of life is trying to test your foundation, and you got to remain wise in them. Remain wise in your storms. This is no time for, let's go back, for imagination, speculation. This is time for meditation. Time for you to hunker down. Right? That's what these storms are. These storms are hoping that you run like, and you run outside. That's what the storm wants you to do. And some of you will get mad when you start getting wet. You're going to get wet. Right? You're going to get wet. Some of you complain about, oh my God, I'm still getting. It's not, it's surviving. Does that make sense? All right. Yeah. Wisdom gets you through those storms. All right? So we looked at fools and we looked at wisdom. All right? And then not next week, the week after, we'll start chapter number 3, which most of us know. For everything, there's a season, a time, purpose. Okay? Hopefully that was helpful. Now, you're going to go through that and like, let me see who's the fool. Let me see. That's a silly fool. You are a simple fool. You are a scorn. Oh, I don't know. I don't want to name it. I don't want you. You know, you don't go like, ooh, that's one. Right? And that's, when you know who you're dealing with, then you can operate in wisdom too. Right? You don't get caught up into what they say or what they do. You'll know how to handle it. Okay? All right. Question, concerns, comments? All right, let's go home. But
where you been coming from, Pastor? I have a bit.
I'm in Ecclesiastes.
So, and you up to number 3?
We up to number 3 now. Next week we'll be at number 3. And the week after we'll be in number 3, and it's all about wisdom. Finding meaning in life, and hopefully it's adding. And if you listen to Sundays, I'm actually sprinkling Sunday in there too. If you paid attention Sunday. When you start talking about goodness and happiness, right? When you understand goodness, then you understand your happiness. Yes. I would have fainted if I didn't believe I was going to see the goodness of the Lord again in the land of the living. He figured out goodness comes from God. And as long as he had God, he always experienced goodness. Come on, let's go home. Not health, not wealth, not popularity, not friends. All of those are good, but they ain't God. All right. Let's pray. Lord, thank you again, God.